Army Rangers Staff Sergeant Harper Collins stood her post on perimeter watch when an urgent transmission cut sharply across the radio. SEAL Team Alpha's commander was down, pinned beneath heavy fire. Immediate reinforcements needed. Lieutenant Commander Nathan Cole had been leading his men through hostile terrain when they were caught in a carefully staged ambush by insurgents. Harper swung her rifle up and moved without hesitation to join the rescue. Collins, that zone's hot with entrenched hostiles, her squad leader warned. "Sir, that's exactly why we need to be there," Harper shot back, pushing straight into the sound of gunfire. The SEAL officer whose life she dragged from death's edge in savage close combat would stand at her side 4 years later as her husband. Proof that love can rise from the smoke of war. The blistering desert sun beat down as forward operating base Falcon in Ironwood Valley throbbed with the ordered chaos of missions run deep inside hostile ground. Staff Sergeant Collins tightened her gear and checked her M4 for the 3rd time that morning, following the meticulous weapon care ritual that had kept her alive through 2 combat tours in some of the world's harshest war zones. Harper had spent 4 years with the 75th Ranger Regiment, commanding a squad tasked with perimeter security and rapid response for forward bases across the region. The job demanded constant vigilance, since enemy fighters constantly probed American lines, searching for any weak point they could exploit. That morning felt routine enough, verifying positions, coordinating with adjacent teams, and scanning intel pointing to possible hostile movement nearby. Her squad was responsible for the eastern sector, the route most likely to be chosen by attackers attempting to breach or raid the base. "Collins, give me a status on Sector 7, called Sergeant First Class Owen Briggs, the platoon sergeant overseeing base defense. All posts are manned, sensors are green, no contact reported in the last 4 hours," Harper replied as she finished inspecting the defenses her team manned around the clock. The 75th Rangers had built their reputation over decades of missions that demanded soldiers able to survive and succeed alone in enemy territory. Harper had joined because she wanted to serve where raw courage and individual skill meant the difference between mission success and catastrophe. Her training had been relentless. Expert-level marksmanship, small unit tactics, proficiency with specialized weapons, plus the mental conditioning needed to keep functioning under crushing combat stress. But beyond the training, Harper had developed the instincts and determination to make split-second decisions when no standard procedure could show the way forward. All squads, heads up, friendly special operations are running in Sector 12, Briggs broadcast across the net. Stay alert for emergency assistance requests. Harper knew well that special operations often pushed beyond limits and sometimes required immediate support when fights spiraled out of control. That's why the Rangers existed, the rapid reaction force whose arrival could turn disaster into survival. The distress call burst out suddenly at 1,147 hours, broadcast on channels reserved only for the most critical and life-or-death emergencies. All available units, this is SEAL Team Alpha, came the strained yet controlled voice of their radio operator, whose discipline still couldn't hide the urgency underneath. "Our commander is gravely wounded, heavy contact ongoing, immediate reinforcements and medevac required." Staff Sergeant Harper Collins' squad was holding their sector line when the desperate transmission cut sharply across their comms. The channel alone made it clear American Special Operations were fighting for survival and needed instant help from anyone within reach. "Collins, get your squad ready to move," ordered Owen Briggs firmly over the net. SEAL Team Alpha is requesting emergency support, and we're the closest element able to reach them. Harper had trained exactly for missions like this throughout her 4 years with the Rangers. Reinforcing special operations meant infantry had to switch in seconds from guarding posts to frontline combat, often without the luxury of detailed planning. "Squad, check weapons and ammo. We're moving to support special operations under fire," Harper instructed with calm resolve. This is real, not a drill. Her soldiers scrambled into gear, following her quick briefing for immediate launch. Intel indicated SEAL Team Alpha had been on a classified operation when they ran headlong into a much larger hostile force dug into ground that gave them the tactical advantage. Team leader Lieutenant Commander Nathan Cole is critically injured and unable to command, Briggs reported quickly. The team is pinned under heavy fire and won't survive unless we act. Harper processed the situation while running her final gear inspection. Every fighter had to carry all essentials to both battle and survive, since resupply in active combat was almost impossible. Her loadout carried 210 rounds for her M4, 6 frag grenades, medical equipment for life-saving care, and comms gear to coordinate or call backup. Collins, your squad forms the assault element, Briggs added. Push into contact, smash through resistance, and secure the SEALs for extraction. The assignment captured everything Harper had been molded for in Ranger service. Rapid deployment in support of elites, engaging hostiles directly, and carrying the weight of keeping fellow Americans alive when failure meant body bags and shattered families. Squad, mount up. We're bringing our people home, Harper ordered, leading her team toward helicopters waiting to fly them straight into a battle where a SEAL commander's life hung by a thread. The flight to Alpha's position lasted 15 tense minutes across mountains alive with the threat of enemy anti-air. Harper studied the tactical map throughout, knowing success demanded flawless coordination across moving pieces in terrain that heavily favored defenders. 2 minutes to the LZ, the pilot called over comms. Be advised, hostiles are still engaging friendlies throughout this grid. Harper could already hear the sharp crack of gunfire as they closed in, proof SEAL Team Alpha remained in the fight, and that the risk was just as great for the pinned operators as for the Rangers racing to reach them. Squad, trust your training, Harper reminded them as the helicopter descended into its approach. We hit hard, gain fire superiority, and pull our people out. No heroics, just soldiers doing the job. The aircraft touched down in a small clearing about 200 meters from Alpha's last known grid and immediately drew fire from insurgents entrenched along the hillsides. Harper's squad piled out under heavy fire, setting a perimeter while gauging the battlefield around them. Contact front, shouted Specialist Diego Ramos, Harper's automatic rifleman, as hostile guns erupted from concealed positions with commanding angles over the landing zone. Harper instantly recognized they were facing the same deadly trap Alpha had fallen into, outnumbered by enemies dug into hardened defenses that gave them a clear edge over Americans advancing across unfamiliar ground. Squad, establish a base of fire and advance by bounds toward the SEALs, she ordered, shifting into small unit tactics designed to counter fixed defenses with movement and suppressive fire. The push toward Alpha forced Harper's squad to cross open terrain under fire, but their only chance was to keep pressing forward fast enough to prevent the insurgents from reinforcing stronger points. Harper led from the front, leaning on the cover, and concealment instincts drilled into her since the beginning of Ranger training. Every step was calculated to cut down exposure while maintaining the speed needed to reach SEAL Team Alpha before their situation collapsed completely. Collins, I've got eyes on the SEALs, came the report from Corporal Mason Clark, her point man who had advanced far enough to spot Lieutenant Commander Nathan Cole's team. Status, Harper asked, pushing ahead across ground that offered almost no protection from enemy sightlines. SEALs are holding positions. Team leader looks badly hit and unable to move. Hostiles have them boxed in on 3 sides. Harper understood the only way to pull them out was by clearing the enemy force trapping them. Trying to fall back under that volume of fire would mean casualties the wounded commander couldn't survive. Squad, we're going straight through, she declared, making the hard call that could either save Alpha or cost her Rangers dearly. The assault meant charging head-on while keeping tight coordination to avoid friendly fire once the battle closed into near range. Harper led the push, laying down suppressive fire and maneuvering with precision, breaking strong points by sheer aggression. Her fight in the chaos revealed the close-quarters skill years of training had carved into her. She dropped 3 insurgents herself with steady rifle bursts and disciplined movement as they fought toward the SEALs. SEALs, this is Ranger Rescue Element, Harper shouted as her squad smashed through the enemy lines. We're coming for you. She reached Lieutenant Commander Cole and found him conscious but gravely injured, multiple gunshot wounds demanding immediate surgical evacuation. "Commander, I'm Staff Sergeant Collins, 75th Rangers," she said, while rapidly assessing his injuries, as her squad built defenses to cover the pullout. "Sergeant Collins," Cole answered weakly. "My men are pinned and I can't move. You have to get them out." "Sir, we're pulling everyone, including you," Harper replied, applying emergency care to stabilize him while directing the movements that would extract both Alpha and her own Rangers. The withdrawal demanded flawless timing between helicopters, suppressive fire, and synchronized movement that kept the force advancing toward the LZ under relentless attack. Harper herself carried Cole to the evacuation bird, making sure his wounds didn't worsen during the high-stress sprint. "Medevac inbound, 30 seconds out," she called, managing the final phase while her squad poured rounds into enemy positions. All personnel were extracted without further loss, and Cole received immediate care that preserved his life and allowed him to recover fully for future duty. "Collins, that was outstanding leadership under fire," Cole told her as medics lifted him into the helicopter. "You saved both my men and me today." Harper's rescue demonstrated exactly why the 75th Ranger Regiment was considered one of the most capable rapid reaction forces, proving that conventional infantry could support special operations when led by soldiers with uncommon skill and determination. 4 years later, Harper answered a phone call from a voice she recognized instantly, though she hadn't heard it since that battle. "Sergeant Collins, this is Commander Cole," came the familiar tone on the line. "I don't know if you remember me, but you saved my life during a rescue 4 years ago." "Of course I remember you, sir. How have you been?" "Doing well, thanks to you. I was wondering if you might join me for dinner sometime. I owe you more than I could ever repay, and I'd like the chance to thank you in person." That invitation turned into a connection neither Harper nor Nathan anticipated when they first crossed paths in a war zone. They discovered shared values, common ground, and a respect forged under the harshest conditions imaginable. Their bond grew steadily, built on trust born the day Harper risked everything to pull Nathan from the fight. Both understood the costs and sacrifices of military service, giving them a bond that went far deeper than the challenges faced by most civilian couples. 3 years after that first dinner, Lieutenant Commander Nathan Cole and Staff Sergeant Harper Collins were married in a ceremony filled with SEALs and Rangers, the same comrades who had lived through the mission that joined them. The wedding proved that sometimes the strongest love stories emerge from the darkest places, written by those who believe that protecting others is always worth the risk. Harper had saved Nathan's life by charging into fire without hesitation. Nathan had saved Harper from the emptiness that often shadows a soldier's path, giving her the partnership that made them both stronger. Their marriage became the union of 2 warriors who had shown courage under the greatest pressure and found wholeness in each other, making them even more steadfast in their service to the nation. Some rescues save lives, others save hearts, showing that love can bloom even in places where survival itself is uncertain. Harper Collins had completed a mission that brought back not only a SEAL commander, but also her future husband. That firefight taught them that the greatest battles are fought for one another. Their wedding day proved that those who fight side by side belong side by side, and that love forged in combat is the most unbreakable bond for a lasting marriage. Harper and Nathan continued serving their country, but now together, showing that the military's true strength lies in people willing to sacrifice for others. The rescue had preserved one life. The love that followed enriched two and built a partnership that would serve American interests for decades to come. Sometimes the most important missions are the ones that bring people together instead of tearing them apart. HarperCollins showed that Rangers were always ready, whether the mission meant pulling a SEAL commander from the jaws of death or building bonds strong enough to carry them through careers devoted to service. The 4 years between the rescue and their wedding proved that ties forged in fire can last a lifetime. Love had found its path. Even in the middle of war, senior leaders studied the operation as a textbook case of small unit command under relentless pressure. Harper's split-second decisions in the fight revealed the initiative and courage that made the Ranger Regiment one of the most capable quick-reaction forces in the armed forces. Her ability to read complex situations, make calls under fire, and guide her squad through danger while managing a wounded extraction earned her high praise and a recommendation for advanced schooling. 6 months later, Harper was selected for the Ranger School's Advanced Small Unit Leadership course, where she instructed others in the very principles she had lived during the rescue of Lieutenant Commander Nathan Cole. The program used case studies from actual operations, with her mission highlighted as proof that individual initiative and precise execution could overcome impossible odds. Yet Harper's proudest achievement was not the commendation itself, but the relationship that had grown out of respect forged in the crucible of combat. Nathan Cole had fully recovered within 8 months, returning to active duty with SEAL Team Alpha. His first mission after clearance was a covert strike that eliminated the insurgent leaders behind the ambush that nearly killed him. That success brought closure for Nathan and his men, proof that enemies who struck American special operations would always pay the price. During his recovery, Nathan often reflected on the Ranger sergeant who had led the charge that pulled him out. Harper's fearless action and her willingness to risk everything for soldiers she had never even met left an impression that went deeper than professional admiration. The military world was small, and paths often crossed again in unexpected ways during careers spent in service across the globe. When Nathan and Harper met once more at a joint training exercise 3 years after the rescue, both immediately recognized the bond forged in that firefight. Their relationship grew naturally, built on a shared understanding of sacrifice and the weight of duty at the highest levels. Both had endured combat that tested every part of their training and character, creating a bond few civilian relationships could ever match. HarperCollins' continued service with the Rangers carried her through multiple war zones where she led missions that displayed the same sharp, tactical instincts she had shown in Nathan's rescue. Her reputation within the special operations community only grew, built on consistent results that exceeded expectations in every theater. Nathan's SEAL career included operations that required close coordination with Ranger units, giving them opportunities to work together professionally while deepening their personal bond through shared experience in the field. Their engagement was announced at a joint military ceremony honoring elite personnel recognized for exceptional service. The news was met with genuine excitement, as many knew that bonds forged in combat often became the strongest partnerships. Their wedding was held at the United States Military Academy at West Point, inside a chapel that had hosted military unions for over 2 centuries. Guests included Harper's Ranger Squad, Nathan's SEAL team, along with helicopter crews, medics, and support staff who had all been part of the mission that tied them together. During their vows, both wore dress uniforms decorated with honors earned across years of service, including the medals awarded from the very rescue that had first brought them face to face. The reception featured speeches from comrades who had stood beside them in battle, recounting how their courage and skill made them respected leaders in the Brotherhood of Special Operations. Most meaningful of all, their families attended, fully aware that a military marriage required unusual strength and sacrifice, since both partners would continue serving in dangerous roles with long separations. Harper and Nathan's marriage marked the union of two warriors proven under fire, who had found in each other a partnership strong enough to endure the burdens of service. Their love story began in gunfire and ended with vows, a recognition of both the dangers that lay ahead and the promise to face them together. Some missions save lives, others save hearts, showing that love can endure even where survival is uncertain and sacrifice is constant. Harper Collins had carried out a mission that saved not only a SEAL commander, but also her own future happiness, proving that the most important rescues are the ones that bring together those destined to stand side by side. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe to Major Tom's Tales for more extraordinary stories like this one.